we back once again.
So I'm hearing through the grapevine. I know a grapevine who knows a grapevine, and I'm hearing that they're looking to cast the villain for Spider-Man 4, and they're looking for specifically females aged 30 to 50.
That's an interesting gap.
Yeah, that got me thinking. Black Cat.
A 50-year-old black cat is.
Well, yeah, but they could do like a middle-aged Black Cat.
They can.
Or Silver Sable.
Silver Sable makes more sense.
Yeah,
that makes more sense. Yeah, if I were Marvel, I'd probably avoid using Black Cat because she's one of them. I like Black Cat, but she's one of the most blatant ripoffs.
Well, Catwoman, straight up. Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for people not to make those kind of comparisons, even more than they already do.
You can always put Black Cat in the movie, but I think as the main villain, that's a tall order.
It is. And also, like, do we know that this is supposed to be the main villain, they said?
A villain. Okay. So not necessarily the main villain. So it could be a secondary villain.
Yeah. Silver Sable, I think, makes more sense. She's always deemed to be a little bit more astute and mature,
right.
than Peter, and definitely more stoic and more or less bullshit than Peter,
Right.
So I can definitely see Silver Sable, and also she's never been in a movie before.
Right. Yeah. Has Black Cat?
No. I feel like Felicia Hardy may have cameoed in one of the Spider-Man movies.
That's like a wink and a nod.
Yeah. But I don't think anything serious.
No.
But, regardless of all that, Marvel, if you guys really need someone to pull off the role, I think I am free whenever you guys are filming. So
to play Silver Sable?
I mean, if they need me to.
I think you got a better chance than T'Challa.
You see, you didn't have to go there. And you didn't have to say that. You really just could have let that slide completely, but,
Who would you like to see as Silver Sable?
Ooh. Oh, man.
My brain was just like, they could get Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, no.
Nope.
Oh, no,
Don't do it.
No. Please, no.
Don't do it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's going to be tough. How would you feel about like I was going to say, how about like Halle Berry? But she's already been Storm, and that's what people know her for.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Part of me, actually, I don't like her in other things, typically. And I could see maybe that they wouldn't use her in this kind of role, but they haven't strayed away from using DC actors before. I don't think Gal Gadot would be terrible.
Interesting. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see Gal as that.
And I actually don't really care for her, like, at all, but...
Yeah, like
I think she'd do a good job in this role.
They would have to temper her lines, which they can do that for Silver Sable because she's always even keel.
Yeah.
Like nothing too extreme on the emotional spectrum. Keep it.
She's not a good actress, man. She's just not.
No, she's not.
And I feel like Disney is probably going to stay away from her after Snow White tanks.
Yeah.
Horribly.
The lowest rated Disney movie on IMDb right now.
I mean, the homie Dylan went to go see it, and he said that the hate from the internet is slightly overblown. Like, he used the phrase, "It wasn't horrible," but like that, I feel like that bar is in hell.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he said that about Batman Ninja 2.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, listen, it's Snow White. Like I didn't care for Snow White when I was a kid. I wasn't gonna go see this regardless. I had no stake in the game for this movie. However, it is fascinating that apparently For whatever reason, the internet is not having it with this movie.
There's a lot of things like to do with it, and not all of them are the movie's fault. Ironically enough, you have the actual co-star or the actual star that's playing Snow White. I can't remember her name right now.
Rachel Ziegler.
Yeah, she is. I actually quite like her. But she's a very like far left activist type person, and she said a bunch of shit about Israel while they were working on the movie. And as you know, Gal Gadot is in fact Israeli, and
that feels like an oversight.
It is a little bit. And well, I mean, she's cast as the villain, so
Well.
But so I feel like there's a lot of like political aspects to that, and when you've got two co-stars that are kind of opposed like that, and like the actual actress playing Snow White is very outspoken. Then you also have the aspect of the dwarf stuff. It's problematic. It's wildly problematic.
Yeah.
And I think originally they were just gonna do. They originally weren't gonna put them in the movie. They were just gonna change it entirely to be like Snow White and the 7
Bums.
bikers or whatever, and then people got mad about that, and so then they were like, "Well, we'll ask the little people community what they want us to do." And I don't know why they didn't just do like The Hobbit and just put the dwarves in.
Well, they did.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it feels like I feel like that's something that you can do tastefully. And honestly, I feel like if they had just done that from jump, there wouldn't be all this like hoopla about it.
Yeah, the dwarf situation I remember was really interesting because it seems like there was it seems like they went out of their way to kind of try to smooth it all over. Like they had there's like coincidentally like 7 bandits in the movie. But then there's also 7 CGI abominations as well. Yeah. and I'm like, I feel that like one of these groups wasn't originally going to be in this movie. And then you guys feel the need to add the other.
It's really, and I think on top of those two things that we just mentioned, I think it's also a bad film. And so it just has a lot of things going against it. Yeah. Disney's track record with me with the live action remakes is actually quite good. The only one that I've ever really just thought was awful was The Lion King.
Oh, you thought it was awful?
Oh yeah, no. I think The Lion King is absolutely atrocious garbage.
Really?
Yeah, I would say it's dog shit, but I have too much respect for canines.
No, you don't.
I actually am not a dog person, so that bar is also in hell.
Wow.
Half the people just turn the shit off. They're like, "Oh, not a dog person." Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't like the Lion King remake at all. I think it's horrible. And it's crazy too, right? Because like that's like the like golden egg, That's like the Disney property.
Yeah. Well, with Lion King, I feel like myself and pretty much everyone that has similar issues with that one, which is you can't animate that style of lion and make them seem expressive. It's just this weird kind of uncanny valley type effect that they end up coming off with. I don't know. It just doesn't quite gel.
There was no need to make a live action of a movie that didn't have any fucking people in it to begin with.
Or real animals.
No. It's just it loses pretty much everything, and also like James Earl Jones when he recorded Mufasa in the first one, he was like full of vigor. You know what I mean? Like he was killing it. But when he did the remake, man, it's like Simba, did you do the thing I told you not to do? he sounds like a Sebastian Stan from season 1 of What
He
If.
was not that bad. I have to give some pushback there. He definitely sounded older and tired, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have gotten old Aaron Pierre. Huh?
Yeah. But I'm not a I'm not like someone who typically hates the remakes though, because like I loved Aladdin, and I thought Little Mermaid was quite good. There's another one out there too, Beauty and the Beast, tremendous. They did a really good job with that one. So
I realize now I've only seen 2 of these live action remakes.
Which one haven't you seen?
Haven't I seen? I haven't seen Snow White.
Right, no.
I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast. I haven't seen Little Mermaid.
Okay.
But these are also movies that I wasn't really interested in as a kid either.
Yeah. I got kids, so
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Aladdin was always my favorite as a kid.
Right.
So I was very happy that I also liked the remake.
No, I did see live action Mulan because I love Mulan. I hate the live action remake. For me, that movie is dog shit.
Let me tell you a secret. I never seen either of them.
You've never seen either?
I've never
Mulan?
seen that. Nope. I've never seen either one.
Wow.
I ain't seen the old one. I ain't seen the new one.
That's crazy. How did that happen?
I'm gonna tell you right here on air the honest truth behind this. So when I was a kid, my grandma used to buy me all the Disney movies. Right, I had the big thick VHS cases where it was like this much case for this much movie. Yeah. And the reason I haven't seen Mulan is because my grandma bought me all those movies, and she was a racist.
I was afraid like it was gonna lead to that. I didn't want to say anything though. I was like, I don't want to put that on Caleb's family.
Yeah, she's dead. It's fine. And so yeah, like I never saw Mulan because
that's incredibly fucked. But all right,
it is, and I just like never went back to go see it, which is really weird because the lead actress, like I'm like a big fan of hers. Yeah. I love all kind of stuff that she's in, but yeah, that's why I didn't have Mulan as a kid.
Wow.
But I had Aladdin.
Yeah.
Which is
that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I guess because like Agrabah is like a fictional place.
Okay.
It doesn't really exist.
Yes. Genies aren't real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Speaking of galaxies far, far away though.
Yes. I suppose we should do proper introductions before we discuss the second half of Andor Season 1. Homies one and all, I would like to welcome you all back to a very special episode of the Superhero Homies Podcast. My name is Quentin, and tonight I'm here with the man who has presumably written at least a quarter of the Cosmere himself, but due to legal obligations, he is not able to state as such. He is also the foremost knowledgeable man on all things Star Wars related. Come to find out, he didn't write any of the original Star Wars movies, but he did counsel George Lucas as to certain things he should and shouldn't do. I'm talking about none other than the homie Caleb.
What's going on, everybody? And had I given George Lucas any of those notes, I assure you he would not have listened to me. And Kathleen Kennedy definitely didn't read any of them. However, we are here today to follow up on an episode that you guys are really liking. We are going to talk about the second half. We're talking about episodes 7 through 12 of Andor Season 1. We're going to recap Season 1 ahead of Season 2 coming out, which we are going to cover and review that, and I'm really excited to do it. However, I have watched the show, I think, 3 times now. This was your first viewing of the back half. So what was your kind of overall thoughts on these last 6?
I overall really enjoyed the last 6 quite a bit. There were still some things about it I felt they could have tightened up a little bit. But I think that like the way that the show went was such a refreshing kind of take as to where I thought they were going to go.
Yes.
I thought for sure after episode 6 they were going to go the whole route of him being the disgruntled lone wolf who's pulled back in to help the the fragmented crew one last time to get out of trouble and gonna be the reluctant hero. Like that's kind of what I thought they were gonna do.
Me too.
Yeah, and I'm so glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
No, and you know, instead, not to jump ahead here, but you know, obviously, if you guys have seen the show, you know that instead, this motherfucker commits the heist of the century and then goes to jail for jaywalking.
Yes. Yes. If they only knew what they had in their prison the whole time.
Yeah.
While the ISB is frantically spending damn near the amount of money he stole, probably trying to find him.
And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I love this. I don't know what kind of luck Cassian has, but I don't think I want it, you know?
Yeah, no. I mean, I guess the ISB can't find you if you're already in Imperial prison and they don't know.
Yeah. But no, I thought that the back half of the season was really good. For me, like, maybe the number one thing for me that this show has going for it is they are able to continuously move the plot into different areas, you know. So it starts off as kind of like this refugee type story that honestly, the way it starts off, you think he's gonna go looking for his sister.
Yeah.
And then you know, he gets you know, he tries to find a way off the planet, and you think, okay, well, we're gonna spend a large portion of the show maybe him trying to complete all the various steps to get off of this planet. And then it goes from that to him helping these, you know, this ragtag group of rebels to pull off this extreme heist. And then from there, it keeps pivoting and pivoting and pivoting.
Full spoilers, by the way, for pretty much everything Star Wars.
Absolutely full spoilers. If you guys didn't know that yet, my bad. Everything I said was a lie.
Yeah.
But the way that the show keeps pivoting, but also is able to keep the pivots fresh, and then like in the backdrop to continue to have like these underlying themes or like B plots continuing to kind of build up and develop, I thought it was also really cool. Yeah. Again, like the only thing I would say I would change, like that's maybe could be considered a big thing, is really nothing with the story. I think that some of this still could have been tightened up a little bit. In the grand scheme of it, I don't know if it still needed 12 50-minute episodes. They do a lot of lingering at times, and I get it. You want to let the story breathe, and you want to let these characters have these moments, but at the same time, I feel like, you know, we can move this thing along. And it's such an interesting dichotomy because even like when the individual episodic pace is not that great, the story is still moving at a pretty brisk pace. So it's interesting how that works.
They become very good in the back half of having the various plots in the show be at different points. Mm-hmm. So, like, Mon Mothma might be in a boring banking meeting, right, but fucking Cassian is over here breaking out of fucking jail.
Yeah.
You know? So, by the end of the show, they actually do a really good job of juggling that. Where, like, okay, this plot is on the way up. Mm-hmm. This plot is, like, petering off. And then this plot is like, a crescendo.
Yep.
And they kind of do a really good balancing act of that stuff. So obviously we already talked about a lot of the major players in the first half. So I want to do a little bit more and kind of talk about them again. I actually want to start this back half talking about Mon Mothma, because I think that out of all the plots, she probably, to me, has one of the most interesting plots, but it also has the least like action, right? Like her plot is almost always people talking in the room. She's a senator. That's what she does.
Yeah.
But what do you think about her in this back half?
Yeah. Political intrigue is always going to be something that's going to be hit or miss with me. And sometimes it really even depends on like the kind of political intrigue and just whether or not I'm in the mood for political intrigue.
Right.
But I thought that what she had to do was actually quite interesting, and it's one of those things where it's so good that I became invested in that character, because in other situations, if I'm not, I would just insert myself in that character's position. I'm like, oh, I don't have to pay you. I just have to let your kid marry my daughter. This is fucking easy. And things of that nature. But seeing how she was going to kind of get around some of these issues that she had, when like you can tell that she feels the walls are closing in on her. That, and her husband is a degenerate gambler, and that's not helping matters. She's got problems.
Pretty much everything is spinning out of control for her. You have the money situation, and you can tell the thing is, she is one of these people where it's almost a Walter White situation, right?
Yep.
Where she's really good at this thing. She's very, very good at being a senator and like fighting for what might be left of the Republic, right? And she's, I think, really good at that. However, while she's devoting her entire life to that and like not getting caught funding the rebellion and all this other shit, everything else in her life is just closing in around her. You can tell her husband is just like, you're no fun, He's like dying to fucking get away from her. Her daughter doesn't give a shit about her. You can tell they don't have a close relationship.
Yeah.
You can tell her daughter's like, mom's no fun. She definitely has a better relationship with the dad. We come to find out that her cousin is in town, and it's Vel. And so she's completely lost her cousin to this cause. She probably is the one that originally connected Vel to Luthen.
Yeah.
And Luthen has basically, in Mon Mothma's mind, he's basically made her into a cultist for the most part. She's full tilt into this thing. And I actually really love the conversations between the two of them where you can see that Vel is just like, it's time for you to get off the bench. Yeah. This whole like 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing, it's not, we're past that, So it's two different viewpoints. So I really enjoy that about Mon Mothma. I think she's such a complex character.
Yeah. And, not to jump around, but man, just the way that this season wraps, first of all, I was like, oh, that's where we're ending, huh? But also it was like so many of these characters' plot threads are still up in the air.
I actually don't like the ending. Obviously, Luthen's not going to kill him.
Yeah. What if he did? That would be a mind fuck.
But he's alive later in the timeline.
I know.
But yeah, Luthen, is very much like, I hate the way that this season ends, because while, yes, but if you've seen Rogue One or whatever, Cassian lives, but like, to me, that takes away from like this show standing on its own 2 feet, where it's just like, what it feels like is the rebellion is a train, and this whole season we're laying tracks for the train, and it's just like we put the last piece of track down, credits,
Yeah.
And I dislike that it ends that way. I especially hated it the first time that I watched it.
I think for me, the thing that I disliked about it, it wasn't so much like the prologue effect. It was, for me, something that you alluded to just a minute ago. Like, I know Cassian's not going to die. Like,
yeah,
like the stakes don't feel as high as it could.
Yeah.
I mean, you take this scenario and you put it in like any other show, and you can still surmise that, okay, the lead character's probably going to live, but it still feels like the stakes are there. Like, there's something here at risk. As far as this goes, I'm just really wondering, okay, what's Cassian's plan?
Yeah.
But it was an interesting turn of events. I just didn't expect them to end there.
Yeah. Early on, when we're talking about episode 3 when they first meet, and I'm like, yeah, they don't really have a whole lot of screen time together.
Yeah,
that's it. Like, they don't have any more screen time until that little exchange at the end. They're never in the same room again until that moment.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like how, this is a wild reference, but watching like Dragon Ball Abridged and Vegeta is talking shit to Piccolo, and he's like, you don't want to do this to make you remember the last time we fought, and Piccolo's like, we've actually never fought, and Vegeta's like, really?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. It is crazy to think that they don't have that much screen time together, Cassian and Luthen.
They don't?
Yeah. I got a feeling that's probably going to be rectified in season 2.
Yeah, I agree.
There were moments where I thought maybe they're going to pull like a wild card in season 1 and kill Luthen by the end of it. Because also the walls are closing in on him too.
Yeah, we got to talk. Let's go ahead and talk about Luthen. I love this character. He's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. What were your thoughts on Luthen in the back half?
Yeah, so more about him is revealed in this back half. And while he seems like he's very much, for me, can be compared to like the elusive man from Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Where in the beginning, you're like, this guy's kind of shady. I don't really know a lot about him. But truth be told, he really hasn't given me a reason not to trust him. And then as the story progresses and you learn more about this guy, you realize that, man, he is in deep.
Yeah.
And he views Cassian as a loose end. And I understand that. But he's in deep, and he's like, I forget the name of the guy who he didn't have a whole lot of screen time, but he's the guy who, one of the many people who's like a middleman for Luthen, and this guy just had a kid. He wants out.
Oh yeah, I can't remember his name. He's the ISB contact.
Yeah.
Their scene is incredible. Mm-hmm. One of the best scenes in the whole show.
Yeah. And it's funny, man, because you mentioned earlier how it could almost be misconstrued as being cult-like. Well, that's one thing about cults. Like, they don't typically let you leave.
Yeah, this guy clearly wants to fuck out, and like Luthen just rolls charisma checks until he stays.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luthen to me is very much like Cecil from Invincible. You can be a good guy, or you can be the guy that saves the galaxy.
Yeah.
But you can't be both.
Can't be both, yeah.
And if you ever could be both, Luthen ain't interested in being both.
No, absolutely not. And he has such an interesting front as well. Like I remember when we discussed, the first part of this season, and he's got the storefront, and he uses that along with his like extreme knowledge of historical artifacts and whatnot to peddle those trinkets or whatnot. And like it's such a brilliant front. But man, as this season goes on, just the more you learn about this guy, it makes him so much more intriguing. But then you just kind of wonder, when's the other shoe gonna drop with this guy? Like, what is he really all about?
I think he definitely dies in season 2. My best guess would be that Daedra is gonna be the one that ends up killing him. If it's not her, it's probably going to be Krennic.
Which one is Krennic?
Krennic is the main bad guy from Rogue One.
Oh, okay.
He's going to be in season 2.
Okay.
The reason that Daedra makes more sense to me as a storyteller is because the ISB agent, his guy on the inside of the ISB, he warns him about her. Mm-hmm. So to me, if she's the one that ends up getting him, that would be full circle.
Yeah.
From a foreshadowing point of view. But also, we know that like going into Rogue One, which season 2 is going to take us right into that, going into Rogue One, like Krennic is kind of like the big bad, against the rebellion at this point. They haven't quite sent Vader after them yet.
Yeah.
And
shit's real bad when they send big Van Vader after you.
Yeah.
It's Vader time.
Yeah.
Not to, jump ahead to like season 2 predictions, but do we know how many episodes season 2 is going to
12.
have? 12. Okay, another 12.
Yeah, another 12. And I don't think it's going to have the kind of early pacing issues that this one had.
I don't think so. I don't see how.
It looks absolutely bonkers from what I have seen about it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's got to be balls to the walls just by the way that this thing, because like it's almost a bottlenecking itself now. You know, we have storylines beginning to intertwine more, and things are starting to bleed through.
Well, you know, it's like I was watching Rogue One and earlier today, just because I haven't seen it in a while, and it's like heavily tied to this material. And within the first 5 minutes of the movie, you have fucking tubes. You see tubes in like Saw Gerrera's camp, and then in the next scene, Mon Mothma, Cassian Andor, and Senator Organa, Leia's dad, are all in the same room together. You know, so you're like, well, clearly we're going to converge.
Yeah, have to.
You know, a lot of these plot lines are going to start to come together.
Yeah.
So,
how do you thread the needle with something like Andor? Because you have to give a satisfying conclusion, but this is technically just a big prologue to Rogue One, and in some regards, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna have to be difficult for like the showrunners and the people that are writing these episodes and storytellers to both, you know, land this ship that is Andor in a satisfying conclusion. But there's only so much you can do because this has to flow smoothly into Rogue One.
Yeah, I think honestly, as far as like the bad people dying, right, or whatever, I think Daedra's got it coming. I think Luthen's contacted the ISB. Is probably going to be tortured to death. He probably got a bad time coming.
Yeah, I think so.
Nobody's ever that panicked and then like decides to, you know what, I'll stick it out, and then it never turns out good.
And what do we always talk about? He's got a new kid.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
It's never good. If you're a fictional character and you have a kid out of the blue, it's never good for you. You know, something's bad can happen to you. You know.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, you're done. So
it's a bad omen. Yeah, man, I think Luthen definitely doesn't make it out. I mean, obviously, because if he was around during the Rogue One, he would have been all over that.
Absolutely.
Interesting thing, the Galaxy Heroes game that I play, they added Luthen to it not too long ago.
Okay.
And he actually has they do an interesting play on his character. So you can put him in either Saw Gerrera's team or Mon Mothma's team. And if he's in Mon Mothma's team, he has a set of curator abilities. And if he's in Saw's team, he has Axis abilities, which is very cool. I thought that way they played off the show.
Yeah.
What you think about Saw Gerrera here?
Yeah, he seems like he knows what he's about.
Yeah.
But he's super intense. You know?
I mean, Forrest Whitaker is just perfect for this character.
Oh, yeah. And I love just the scenes of, you know, Stellan Skarsgård and Forrest Whitaker just going back and forth. Just tremendous character work for both of them.
It really is. We're still jumping around here, but like that speech that he makes to the ISB agent, man, that's one of those things where it's like Benedict Cumberbatch saying ridiculous shit as Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And you're like, anybody else saying this stuff, it would sound ludicrous.
Yeah.
Like, but here you have like Stellan Skarsgård, like that opening line that he says, your contribution to the rebellion is epic.
Yeah.
You know, any of us saying that shit, it doesn't come across.
It doesn't.
But the way he delivers it is incredible. I also love that part where he asks him, like, what do you sacrifice? And he's like, oh, well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And he goes on that long monologue. And I like the line that he's talking about his life and how he's had to basically distance himself from anything that he would remotely like or enjoy or any people that he would want. Like, everything that could bring him any sort of happiness is all muted. He says it's a sunless space. And, like, whoever wrote that shit, I need them to write more Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that kind of gave us a glimpse into like the kind of like not the grief, but like I guess kind of the heaviness or the pain that he carries.
Yeah.
Because he keeps a lot of that just kind of buried. You don't really see that. You just see the focus.
I hope we kind of learn like what the Empire really did to him.
Right.
Another overarching theme that we have here. I love the way that they present the Empire, because as so many rebellions are, right? Like, it doesn't matter really how oppressive or how shitty your government is, as long as like the everyday people can mostly ignore you or get away from you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get these kind of active rebellions happening, that's when you get, that's when it's the point where that can't happen.
Yeah.
And it's like at the beginning of this show, the Empire was like right there, Nobody cares if they want to kill some Wookiees or, like, oh, well, we caught this ship with cargo we don't like and we're going to take all their stuff or whatever, we're going to rough up the locals a little bit here and there. But after, it's like they're right on the edge of it. And then after Aldhani, they push them past that point. And now it's like there is nowhere to go where are not under their thumb.
And that really was just like the breaking point, man.
Yeah.
I mean that was the point that the Empire was like, all right, you know what? Fuck these rebellions.
Yeah.
Like they've been a nuisance, but now, and it's so interesting because on one hand you can tell by the way that they talk amongst each other that they want to keep it downplayed, like, hey, this is just a minor disturbance. Like they can't do anything to really get to us. But at the same time, everything flips once that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's all real after that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What do you think of the ISB storyline here?
Yeah. So this isn't. I guess technically it does fall in line with like political intrigue, but man, this is kind of like the shitty trying to fuck over the shitty.
Yeah.
and like I dig it because in a way it kind of adds more layers and characteristics or humanizes some of these who we would just typically consider to be straight up villains,
I like that aspect of it where it's like normally in Star Wars when it comes to the good guys or the bad guys for the most part, but especially with the bad guys, we see the Marines.
Yep.
We see the military, let's blast the shit people. And the First Order was laughable, slapstick nonsense.
Yeah.
But like even in the original trilogy, it's like they can't believe the Millennium Falcon would be able to evade them. It's that kind of thing. It's that bravado, whatever. So it's really cool to see like the Empire, CIA. It's like, oh, this is where the smart people in the Empire are.
Yeah.
And these motherfuckers are terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Because like they're owning you.
Yeah, yeah. And describing them as like the CIA or like the FBI is very apt because like even when you don't think they're watching you, they're watching you. Like
Yeah.
Like they are on to you. Absolutely.
They got people everywhere.
Yeah.
And
they got hoes in different area codes.
Yeah. And then they got people watching those hoes. And their hoes. And yeah, it's a lot. Cartagaz, which is the guy who was Qyburn in Game of Thrones.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah, man. He is terrifying. Like,
yeah.
He's just perfect for this character.
Yeah. He really is the perfect fit for that kind of role,
Yeah. Because it's like you can just tell he's so amused by it, Deidre Miro.
Yeah.
What you think about her, man?
I think the best thing I can say about her is that I don't hate her as much as I feel I should.
Yeah, correct. I feel the exact same way about her. Yeah.
Yeah, dog. On one hand, I love to see her work and to put the pieces together. and to out Syril, you know.
Oh my God.
Which that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing.
But then it's like the actress. I don't know who the actress is. I don't know her name, but she does so good.
She's perfect.
Yeah,
as this character.
Yes. Dare I say she does too good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I wouldn't go up to her table at a con or anything.
I mean, even her facial expressions, like if she's dealing with like a common folk, right? It's just like the look on her face is like someone stuck a finger up their ass and then wiped it across the lip. Like, that's the look.
It's so funny because it's so real. I mean the scene where she's interrogating Bix
yeah,
is so crazy, right? Because it's just all the little things that she does, and like, I know we're jumping around here, but like, the moment where Bix is like, "Well, you're just not gonna believe me anyway," and like the look that she gets on her face, right there. The other line too, where she says something along the lines of, "Yeah, you're right." Yeah, I suppose not. Yeah, mm-hmm. But the other line she gives there that I really love is where she says, "The worst thing you could do right now is bore me."
Oh yeah.
And the way she delivers that shit, you know, she loves an interrogation. You can tell it's like her favorite part of her job,
right?
And see, this is why a competent character, especially a villain, is so important. Because, like, yeah, it's hard to write this where you have this character who is insanely good at their job, right? Mm-hmm. Because then it's like, how do you escape this person? Yeah. They got people everywhere. So when Cassian does actually outsmart her, it's this huge thing. Mm-hmm. And you're like, wow, he's really fucking good at what he does.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that's why so many, like, people, like, so many writers of any kind, they shy away from having that competent villain because you have to actually get really creative with your protagonist if you're going to do that. And she's such a great example of that, of this. Like, she's a really competent antagonist. She's really good at her fucking job. She's, like, on it, you know? And a lot of the like, quote-unquote good characters, they suffer her wrath, man. Mm-hmm. And it's tough to get away from her.
Yeah, you know, leaving episode 6 when we did the first half of the season, I was thinking, oh man, I guess I mean, I don't know how much more we'll see of Bix. You know, that's unfortunate. Bix probably wishes that was the last we saw of her. Explain to me exactly the methods of the torture device they use.
Oh, I would love to. Yeah, so
I don't like your enthusiasm there.
So there was this mining facility the Empire was trying to build, and there was a local species that was like hostile towards the Empire, right? And so finally, this shit got all the way up to like Palpatine, and he's like, "Do whatever you got to do, kill them all. Don't give a fuck." So, to, I guess, kind of like prove that they did the thing, like, they recorded them being killed, like them wiping them all out, right? So they sent the team in, and then you had people up on the ship in orbit, and they were, like, monitoring the genocide.
Oh, wow.
Basically. Well, it turns out that as these creatures die, they emit this, like, noise. And it's like this kind of, like, pleading sound, right? To the point where Dr. Gorst explains it that the 3 Imperial officers that were actually monitoring the mission, they found them, like, huddled in a room underneath the bridge, like, in various states of, like, shock and panic. Shit. And so the Empire, being the Empire, they took the recording and they found a section of, like, primarily children being killed, and they, like, singled that out, and, like, that's what they played into the headset, like, repeatedly.
Jesus.
And it was apparently like absolutely horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. It seemed quite torturous.
Yeah. It did not seem like something you'd want to endure.
No, not necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah. It seemed real bad.
Yeah.
Such a creative and horrifying kind of way to torture someone.
Yeah, it is, right? And they were like, all right, well, if that didn't do the job, we can always put on Captain Marvel. No.
No, please, I'll tell you whatever. Cassian Andor's at these coordinates, you can find him there.
You can find him exactly here.
Y'all know you know the motherfuckers got him in your own prison already, right?
We wouldn't know that. Speaking of which, let's go there.
Yeah, so Cassian takes his Aldani money and he just goes to the beach.
Hey, as one would.
And he thinks he's going to have a beach episode.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how long he was there, but it didn't seem like more than a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's unclear. Who was he shacked up with?
Some hoe.
Some hoe? Okay.
Some hoes in different area codes.
Different area codes.
And so, yeah, I mean, and then literally he gets this K2 unit on him, this Imperial officer, arrest him just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah. It's so hilariously ironic, right? I'm sure you've heard the expression, when you're committing a felony, never commit a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
It'd be like if you rob a bank and then you would get away scot-free, but you get a speeding ticket on the way when you're leaving.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is a shitty way to get caught.
Yeah.
This is almost what happens to Cassian, except he didn't even commit a misdemeanor.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
Yeah. I was like, now you're not supposed to be black. Yeah. You was in the wrong place. What are you doing in these here parts? But I mean, I don't even know if I can say he got profiled. I feel that anyone who would have walked at that moment would have gotten detained. And by the way, like, their version of detaining you is fucking strangulation.
Having a K2 unit hold you against the wall.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that Alan Tudyk voices the K2 unit.
Okay.
And that motherfucker is second in the credits.
Wow.
Yeah. He has like 4 lines in this entire show.
And there's no telling when he recorded those lines.
Yeah, probably he probably didn't even re-record them shits. They probably had them from Rogue One. Yeah, and literally it's like Diego Luna, Alan Tudyk in the credits. I'm like, are you guys serious right now?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because is Andy Serkis at the end of this episode, or is that next? That might be next.
It's whenever he goes to the prison, which is next, because the next episode is Narkina 5.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say that's wild if you don't even have Andy Serkis in like the top 3.
Or Stellan Skarsgård at like number 2,
Yeah. But yeah, man, like, so I like getting falsely profiled for potentially being a part of civil unrest.
Even when you search it on IMDb, it's just
yeah.
like
Yeah,
Diego Luna, Alan Tudyk. Like, Alan Tudyk's face is not even in this show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, if you were to just catch Alan Tudyk at the right time and be like, hey, man, so were you in Andor? He'd be like, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah, so, all right, so to put it in perspective, in Announcement, and which is episode 7, that's where we have Deidre Mira, and she gives that great line, she's like one of the few people that really is on to them, right? And she says, we're treating Aldani like a robbery. Mm-hmm. And her like assistant or whatever is like, well, what is it then? And she says, it's an announcement.
Yes.
And that's what it really is. Mm-hmm. She's like really tuned in. And this is where, Palpatine does exactly what Luthen predicted he was going to do. Doubles all prison sentences, starts cracking down on the locals because he knows that this is going to breed rebellion.
Yep.
if they can ignore you, they're not going to die trying to bring you down. But once they can ignore you, then you're going to have people really coming after you.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And man, like that, the prison sentences, like being doubled, were awful in and of itself, you know. But man, 6 years? 6 years.
And that the trial he had was a complete sham.
Oh yeah, it was a kangaroo court for sure.
Yeah,
like, I haven't seen trials like that fucking one sided since like The Dark Knight Rises, when Scarecrow's holding court.
yeah, like you really need Matt Murdock here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
or Saul Goodman. Who would you rather have?
Johnny Cochran.
Oh shit, that wasn't an option.
But out of those two, Matt Murdock, right? Because if Saul Goodman loses the case, then you're just fucked. But like if Matt loses, he can just beat the shit out of the people.
That's what I think about it.
He's a really good lawyer.
He is a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't know if Saul Goodman would go through the measures to protect the client the way that Matt would.
I absolutely know he wouldn't.
But I will say this. If I could like maneuver what kind of lawyers they are, I would maybe majority of the time want Matt Murdock as my defense attorney. But if I'm suing somebody, I 100% want Saul Goodman.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Even though I will say this, like, you know, that the White Tiger case, not to get too off base here. Matt Murdock almost lost that case. You know, it feels like it was close. I feel like Saul Goodman, he would have maybe done some things no more illegal than what the cops are doing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he did get Lalo out on bail or whatever.
Yeah,
he
fucking
killed a bunch
Lalo.
of people. Yeah. So important thing to get to before we get to the prison is Cassian does return home with the money.
He does.
Originally, and he tries to get Marva to go with him. And I really love this scene. I love this actress that plays her anyway. Mm-hmm. She kills it in this. Her speech at the end is my favorite scene in the whole thing. And one of my favorite Star Wars moments, I think. But I love this conversation between the two of them because he gets back home and he's like, "Look, I got all this money. We can get us out of here. You know, whatever. We can go live peacefully, having whatever we want." And she's just like, "No, I'm staying." And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Those people that knocked off that Imperial garrison." Mm-hmm. She's like, if they can do that and stand up to the Empire, I can at least stay here and stare them down in the street or whatever. Yeah. And he's just like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's like, "Look, I'm sure that was just a robbery. I'm sure it didn't have nothing to do with all that." And Luthen's plan is working.
It is.
And I'm sure that all the people on the heist, except maybe Vel, probably thought it was about the credits.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the credits are nice. It's going to buy some spaceships.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't primarily about that. It was, kind of what I compared it to in the Part 1 review is showing that you can draw the drop of blood from Xerxes.
Yep.
If even a god can bleed, then maybe that god can also die.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. Also reminds me of the Tony Stark and Thanos fight. All that for a drop of blood.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked.
It did.
Yeah.
It sure did.
And it's just so cool to see like the butterfly effect of this heist.
Yes.
And like the aftermath of it, and like this, I mean, it really becomes like the catalyst for the rest of the season, and it's great. So Cassian gets 6 years, and his charges are several counts of bullshit. And then he gets, obviously it's a fake name, it's an alias that he's under.
Yeah.
And so like I would feel so fucking frustrated if I were him, Like I helped commit the heist of the fucking century. People are talking about this shit. And I get my cut of the money. I'm trying to go down to the Power Rangers juice bar to get some breakfast. and I get arrested on some bullshit charges, and now I'm on my way to jail.
Like, they're about like the Angel Grove cops. About as effective.
Right. Oh, shit.
I just want to point out, you ever notice that the ISB, they never use regular stormtroopers?
Yeah.
Like, if you see the ISB, they always have death troopers with them. Yeah. Which is like the stormtroopers with like the black armor and they have the one shoulder guard. Mm-hmm. Those are not the we can't shoot you stormtroopers. Yeah. Those are death troopers. They will fucking kill you. Like, the ISB don't never have the regular stormtroopers with them for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's insanely easy to spot those motherfuckers in any terrain. And number 2, they suck.
Yeah. Perhaps not in that order.
Yeah, the fact that they have a like 0.0001% accuracy on those shots, on those blaster rifles.
Yeah, surely at some point Palpatine has to like give the order. Someone look into the helmets and see what's going on here. Is their vision obscured?
Is that like, I want to know why? I mean, this is a tangent, but like, what does that plasteel armor actually do for them? Because later in this show, a motherfucker with no armor on headbutts one of them. And they go down.
Yeah. Dog, it's about the drip. All right?
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about protection.
Every time I see somebody cosplaying in that shit, I'm like, I bet that cosplay has more actual protection than what they have in the show.
When you think about it, I just don't see Palpatine forking out that much money. He's like, we have how many troopers?
6 billion. Oh. Just find the cheapest shit we can put them in. I don't want to see their faces, though.
They're like, well, we have this leftover material from the shutdown Halloween spirits. And he's like, that's perfect.
Yeah. You can tell that by this point, all the clone troopers are gone.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't kill those motherfuckers like that.
Right.
The clone troopers also will kill you. But, those death troopers are like the special forces or whatever, and they are not really to be fucked with.
Yeah, they seem BA badass with capital BA.
They are. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
they're like, you're going to Narkina 5. And he's like, what's that? And they're like, get on the plane. And they immediately take everybody's shoes. Just as one last insult.
Right.
I'm going to take his shoes, though. So they pull up on, it's not the worst prison I've ever seen, but it's definitely not one you want to be in.
I can't think of too many that I would want to be in.
Right, no. But, so the whole idea with this prison is that everyone except for the guards is barefoot. And to keep you in line, every single floor in the entire place is electrified, and all they got to do is turn that floor on. And I think the one at night, like between their beds, that one I think is like real juiced, and so like that shit'll kill you.
Yeah, that's the one where it's like, make sure you're in your motherfucking cell.
Yeah,
otherwise it's gonna be literally lights out for you.
It's kind of horrific, man. Like they're like, you can have as much food as you want. It don't have no flavor to it, though.
Oh, no, yeah. And that part right there, like when old buddy showed Cassian, like, the food tube, I was like, I'm out. I'm out of here.
But if you win the shift, you can get flavor in it.
I can get flavored food tube.
It's like your only food you get all day is some fucking flavorless applesauce. It's like applesauce that don't have no apple. And then if you win the shift for the day, they'll put the apple back in.
They'll put the apple back in. And sometimes you get a little razzle-dazzle with some cinnamon.
Every now and again. You got to win like 3 in a row for the cinnamon. Yeah, you just know whatever's in that tube is awful.
Bruh, and like, they're not cleaning those tubes.
No.
It's just gunk.
No. They're not cleaning that shit.
Yeah, man. It doesn't seem like fun at all. I'll be honest with you.
Not to mention, man, it's a 12-hour shift.
12-hour work, and then like you can't. There's no lax time on these shifts either.
No, you're on it the entire time.
Yeah.
And then after that, you get 12 hours to go back to your cell and like suck on your goop straw. And there's like nothing else.
Nothing else to do. They don't got no commissary. They don't have no little TVs or nothing, no little radios. They ain't got shit, bro.
They ain't got no playing cards.
Nothing. I'm like, this prison fucking sucks.
Yeah, man.
And no weight rooms. They got nothing. I mean, after a 12-hour shift, who wants to lift weights anyway?
Yeah, I don't know what they were actually building in this prison, but whatever it is, the Empire needs a fuck ton of them.
Yeah, come to find out, it's just like a random cog that goes
into probably a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Because you always wonder, like, how the fuck does the Empire get that many Star Destroyers? This is how.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably, like, part of 1,342,000, and they just got a different prison making each part.
Bro, I'll be honest, man. When they first took Cassian down to his floor, and, we first meet Andy Serkis.
Kino Loy.
Yeah. When we first see Kino, and, he's introducing both Cassian and us as the audience as to what this operation is. I was like, I'm out, dog.
Yeah.
I'm out. Y'all might as well go ahead and beat my ass now because, like, if they put me on your table, on your team, we are going to lose.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Andy Serkis, actually, I really love this role for him. Mm-hmm. He does such a good job, and, like, a lot of people have maligned the idea that Disney bought Star Wars. They're just like, wish it hadn't happened. I've never, even like for the 6 weeks after Last Jedi came out, like probably the worst time of my life. I've never felt that way, mainly because things like this never would have got made under George Lucas.
That's true. We would never get, with all due respect to George Lucas, he's the one who created this giant sandbox in the first place.
Oh, yeah, the OG, yeah.
But things were very much black and white from his original, viewpoint of it. And, like, the inner workings and things of that nature, I agree. I don't think he had, not that he couldn't, I don't think he had very much interest in exploring these type stories.
Yeah, no, the Empire are the bad guys.
Yep.
Let's go. And the Rebellion are the good guys.
Yeah.
Let's go. And the thing about Rogue One, and I'm sure season 2 will be in that same kind of vein, it's like, were the rebels the good guys, or were they just not the Empire in a lot of cases?
That part, right? And that's a question that, like, has never particularly been asked under George Lucas. And by the way, I'm not saying that, like, I'm not going to completely say that, yeah, man, it's a good thing that, because it's just complicated, man. Because I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we haven't gotten a lot of shitty Star Wars from Disney.
Oh, right, yeah. But we also got a ton of things that wouldn't have gotten made.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have got Ahsoka. We wouldn't have got Mando. And the thing about Mandalorian is Mandalorian very much is kind of the vision that George Lucas had for what Star Wars TV should have been years and years and years ago. As a matter of fact, when he made Phantom Menace, he was trying in 1999 to do what they're actually doing with, like, 2020 technology.
Yeah.
With the volume, he
had that in mind, something like that in mind.
Yeah, he wanted a scenario where you could essentially place your physical set into a CG environment and have it all seamlessly mesh. Phantom Menace is kind of like if you try to do that with, like, a Sega Genesis.
And
that's why it still looks terrible.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Is there a reason why we didn't really get a whole lot of live action Star Wars TV shows under?
Well, we didn't get any other than the holiday special.
Yeah, well,
so we didn't get any.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually... Star Wars television was talked about for a long time. Like, George Lucas, I think at one point was even in talks with Fox because, you know, they did all the Star Wars stuff back then. Was in talks with Fox to have like an hour Star Wars show. I think they were going to put it on like USA or something like that. And every time it came up, it just kind of fell through. And I think that was one of the things that contributed to the sale. You know, they did a lot of things that were like prototypes back then, because if you remember the original like anime style Clone Wars was like the 5-minute shorts. I think they used to be on Cartoon Network. And some of those were amazing. The Mace Windu episode especially is.
I even remember watching that one. Doesn't he beat up like a bunch of
super battle droids?
Yeah.
There's the one where he pulls all the screws out of it. Yeah. I love that kill.
And like at one point, doesn't he lose his lightsaber and he's like, no big deal?
Yeah, he loses it. There's this giant machine, and every time it like strikes the ground, it creates this giant shockwave.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, there's a point where he like loses his lightsaber and he's just like, man, I get it. And then he just starts beating these droids to death with his bare hands. And, yeah, but my favorite kill in all of Star Wars for all time, even though it's not canonical anymore, is where that super battle droid just, like, points his, like, laser at Mace Windu, and he just, like, pff, and he, like, just pulls all the screws out, and the battle droid just falls into a pile of parts.
That's fucking great.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
But, you know, that idea for that show became the very, like, really good lengthy Clone Wars show that we got. And even the Clone Wars show, when George Lucas set out to make it, he wanted to make like a Saturday morning cartoon type Star Wars show for kids.
Yep.
And then very quickly it became not that, and Dave Filoni was like, well, what if we told this really epic story of all these things? And you know, and then they had to spend the whole show keeping Grievous and Anakin apart.
Yep. You know, like, kudos to the team for sticking with it, you know.
Yeah, and not just creating that giant hole based on that one line of dialogue.
Yeah, and that, you know, if you're a good enough bullshit artist, you can just explain it away, you know.
Yeah, no, but they stuck to it.
They did.
So back to this, but we never would have got anything like this under George Lucas, especially this like kind of prison break scenario.
We would have never gotten a goop tube feed.
Never would have got the goop tube. Never would have probably got the electrocuted floors.
No.
Around this same time, we actually get the meeting with Mon Mothma and Luthen. And she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. He's like, what's up?
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what the fuck is up.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, did something happen?
Yeah, did something happen? What did you hear?
This was great, right? And, you know, this, I think, is like when you really start to sense that there is a strain in their relationship. And especially since, you know, Mon Mothma, she can really sense, even at this point in the series, that the walls are going to start closing in on her. And this fucking heist of the century thing, you know, is only going to exacerbate matters.
I think that the way that she's looking at it, right, is she still at this point, I think, in her mind, like subconsciously, she probably knows it's gone, but part of her still thinks, I can save the Republic.
Yeah. Like,
it's gone, baby girl. It's been gone.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no. This is going to be bloodshed. A lot of bloodshed if we're ever going to get out from under it. And Luthen is slowly making her realize that. She's just like, people are going to suffer. And he's like, good.
Yeah.
Good, that's what we need. That'll make them rise up. And it turns out he's correct, you know.
You know, these rebellious leader types, man, like they are called extremists for reasons.
Yeah, Luthen does some fuck shit in these couple episodes.
Oh yeah, you really get to see the other side of this character here, man, and he's like you said, like it makes you question: are they really the good guys, or are they just not the Empire? You know?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it in the Star Wars movies has to do with the fact that we see the rebellion kind of through the lens of like Leia. Because there's all these different factions in the rebellion. It's not just like, oh, this is like the headquarters and like this one person's in charge of everybody. They're not that organized. So like, yeah, Senator Organa, his branch of it, they're probably like the neutral good guys, you know. And so Leia takes that over after something happened to Alderaan, lost communication with it.
Yeah, it's out there somewhere.
Yeah, something like that. I'm sure it's fine. But like we see mostly her like faction of these guys. Well, as we find out, you know, Saw Gerrera has his people, and by that time, like Mon Mothma has her people, and the Mon Calamari have her people. So like that scene in Rogue One where you have all the different factions have the meeting where it's like go or no go. Fucking most of them don't go. Like most of them don't show up. Now, to be fair, Saw Gerrera probably would have went, but he had then been incinerated by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, even then, and the thing is, it's important to remember, that meeting that they have is like, what, 2 fucking days before episode 4?
Yeah.
You know? So, it's like right there. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of these individual leaders are just kind of fringe or extremist to various degrees, and we see Luthen start to get more into that territory here.
Yeah, he is in too deep.
Yeah, I think this is around the same time too that we see Syril finally gets a job.
Oh yay!
Make your mother proud, Syril.
What happened to your collar, Syril?
I don't think it's the space fashion because I've never seen anybody in Star Wars wear one of those. That fucking tie that he has is the most atrocious, awful thing.
Oh man, what's going on with Syril, man? Like he is just such a fucking weird person.
He is the personification of the word incel.
He
like
is.
Someone brought it to life.
Yeah. Like a fucking AI Google chatbot fused with like some fucking Cyberdyne Terminator technologies and just made Syril.
That actor would actually be a pretty good like T-1000 or whatever.
So unassuming.
Yeah. So he gets the job, immediately starts using work resources to try to find Cassian Andor.
He can't let go.
Yeah, and he gets Deidre Miro's attention. And originally, she's just like going to tell him, hey, listen, you don't really want us to be looking at you, so maybe just cut that shit out. And then she finds out that Blevin, who's the guy who originally was over Ferrix, didn't even have him, like, let him see the report.
Yeah.
And then she's just kind of, and she already doesn't like this guy.
Yeah.
So she's like, this motherfucker. And I love the meeting. I think the meeting is in this same episode where he tries to throw her under the bus to Cartagaz.
Yeah.
And he's like, she found a way to get access to all of our different data or whatever. And then she's like, as it turns out, the whole Imperial Sector thing is completely being used against us. And they've been using it to orchestrate, like, the mass theft of Imperial technology. And it just completely backfires on Blevin.
Yeah. In a real bad way.
Yeah.
That shit completely backfired. So, didn't work out. Is Syril trying to fuck Deidre?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
He's, like, in love with her.
Yeah, and again, like, he's so awkward. I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Syril is, like, the guy who, fresh out of high school, wants to become a cop.
Oh, no.
Because he's got some sort of, like, mentality for, like, justice. but it's very much like a Shane Vendrell kind of thing.
Oh no.
I get that vibe from Syril, and he's just obsessed with Cassian because like Cassian killed those 2 company guys.
Yep.
And he was completely in the right for it.
Yeah.
But in Cyril's mind, he's like, well, this guy's a murderer. We have to bring him in, you know?
And, I mean, he just has, like, this weird love-hate boner for Cassian. And, like, he will not let go.
He definitely got a strong touch of the tism.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
A strong,
like Krampus touched him with it.
With that big ass hand.
That big ass meaty hand.
Yeah. For sure. And I just love how every time we see an interaction with him and Deidre, it just gets more and more awkward.
Yeah.
And like he makes her uncomfortable. And I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like how? How could you possibly?
Yeah.
But you know, for him, I mean, she's just like this.
Yeah.
Like catch, you know?
Oh my gosh, look at how well she does her job. And
she's going to come home at night and tell him about all the files that she looked through today.
And he's going to listen.
And be like, tell me more. As he like rubs her feet.
Yeah.
Deidre would be like the worst girlfriend ever to anyone other than Syril.
Yeah.
But to Syril, she's just like queen bee.
Yeah, she would make an awful girlfriend. The first thing she's going to do is look you up.
Yeah. Look up all your shit, read all your text messages, not even with your phone, just like through the network.
Everything.
But to Syril, she's Great White Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Holy shit, yeah. Man, I hope they get a Jaime and Cersei ending.
Oh, God. It just like I would love a damn near Robot Chicken-esque skit where like the 2 of them, you find out they survived the events of all this shit, and they both get stationed on the Death Star, and like the alarm starts going off or whatever, and she's just like, Syril, I think we should go, and Cyril's just like, oh, this is the most impenetrable fortress in the world. We're safer here than anywhere.
Yeah.
In the galaxy or whatever. And then, like, next thing you know.
Yep.
That'd make a great Robot Chicken skit.
It would. And it'd be so apt, you know. Cyril's last fuck up.
Yeah. To close out the encyclopedia set of Syril fuck ups. Also, right around in here, I think that's where we start to get some of the Luthen and Saw stuff.
I think we do get their first encounter in this series.
Yeah, so he goes to Saw, and he's like, Anton Krieger, who we never see, and we don't really need to. Krieger is a different rebel leader, and he wants Saw to basically team up with him and take down this like Imperial power station. And he's like, yeah, if you'll sit down and have a meeting with him, you can have the shit I brought for free. And Saw is like, no, dog, just let me pay you for it. And
which is kind of a running theme.
It is, yeah. In a lot of ways, actually, with him and Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, then no dice. And that's like, there's a conversation we have, and then we get, I don't know the name of Luthen's assistant.
I was trying to figure out her name.
She's a cold bitch, though.
I like her.
I like her too. Yeah.
Like you need, if you're running that kind of operation, you need someone like her.
You really do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can get her name.
Yeah, because she's good. She's real good. Yeah, like with that kind of show, with that kind of game that Luthen's playing, you need somebody who's going to be damn near just as good as you at that game.
Clea,
okay.
Yeah, so Clea is like, oh, there was a mark out by the fountain. And we, as the viewer, are meant to think that it's actually like Vel trying to get back in touch with them. which he has sent Vel to Ferrix with Cinta, basically to kill Cassian at this point.
Yep.
Like, that's a loose end. Got to tie it up. And Cinta's a cold bitch, man. I don't want her after me either. But, yeah, so we're led to believe it might be like somebody we've already seen before. And this is where we find out that he actually has an ISB agent, or officer, actually, which is an amazing get.
Yeah.
Up his sleeve. And this is where we get this incredible scene with him.
Yes. And we talked a little bit about that scene earlier, but it is incredible.
I love how he's in the elevator for most of it.
Yeah.
And then finally, like, right when the time is right, Luthen brings him up to where he is. Mm-hmm. And, of course, he's, like, standing there, got the wind blowing, looking epic as fuck, you know.
He's, like, wearing, like, a cloak and, looking epic. He found some kind of way to synthesize the wind, I bet.
Yeah.
I would.
And the mole tells him that, one of Krieger's pilots, which we already know that the ISB got a hold of one of Krieger's pilots. Mm-hmm. They fouled the ship up to make it look like it was just an accident. But they actually had the pilot, interrogated him. And we find out that Dr. Gorst lent his specialty to this investigation, too. So they know about the whole attempt on the Spellhouse power plant.
That puts a damper on things.
It does, yeah, because they've set a ginormous trap for them.
Yep.
And
now you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah. And he's like, I brought this to you, and Luthen's like, cool, we're going to let him go forward. Mm-hmm. And he's like, but they're all going to get killed. And he's like, it's 30 men. I think to the ISB agent, he says 50. But I think later he tells Saw it's 30.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, it's 50 men in Krieger. And he's just like, but they're all going to die. He's like, if I tip them off, then we lose you. And you're worth way more than 50 men and Krieger.
Yeah, man. Once you start playing chess with human lives, you really have to go back and reevaluate some things, you know?
Yeah, this is very far from the Captain America, we don't trade lives.
Yeah. Super far.
Yeah, we don't trade lives is a long, long fucking way from where we are right here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like it's only 30 in Krieger. Like it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, 50, 30.
Yeah, what's the difference? With 20 people, it's the difference.
I mean, that's the thing too, is like, I understand if I was in his position, I'd probably do the same thing.
It's a tough call, man.
Because you want the ISB thinking that they're invincible.
Yeah.
Here. Because they're the ultimate threat to you if you're trying to grow this rebellion all across the galaxy in little pieces. Because, like, once they figure out what you're actually doing and start trying to hunt you down, you don't have a lot of chances after that. Meanwhile, on Ferrix, the Empire has completely moved in. They are all over Cassian's house.
Yeah.
They've already interrogated Pack, who is the guy that had the radio that Bix was using.
Yeah.
And as we talked about earlier, they done got a hold of Bix.
Boy, howdy did they.
Yeah. She's done had a bad time.
Yeah, they done turned that girl every which way but loose. And
interestingly enough, when they know about Krieger, and Bix in a way is relieved when she shows him the picture of Krieger. Shows her the picture of Krieger. You see just a moment that like Bix sees it and then tries to hide it immediately.
Yep.
That she's like kind of relieved that that's the photo because that's not Luthen.
Yeah.
She probably don't have any clue who the fuck that guy is.
Like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but yeah, this is definitely
you got
contact.
me.
Yep. How'd you figure it out? Yeah.
Interestingly enough, though, is like she won't roll on Cassian even after the torture.
Yeah.
She will not roll on him.
Must have been some grade A dick.
Yeah, must have been. So we get a lot more in the prison.
Oh yeah.
Through here. We actually see them working their shifts and everything. We see people get replaced. What's the old guy's name? Olaf.
Yeah.
So they double everybody's sentences. They find out that that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And Olaf is scheduled to get out, I think, in 20 shifts.
Yep. Something, it was like 40 or 50, actually. But yeah, it was close. It was close.
Yeah.
I guess also important to point out is that when Cassian got sentenced, like the judge said, well, they've actually increased the time on this crime, 6 years. So I assume that maybe originally it was 3.
Yeah.
For that kind of bullshit, which is
still ridiculous.
Yeah. But like, so if you think about it, their time is being more than doubled, especially if like you're recently arrested.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so they were taking guys, like one guy who supposedly served his time, was supposed to get out. They just moved his ass to a different floor.
Yeah.
Word slipped, and so they wiped out the entire floor.
Yeah.
God damn.
Which, it had to smell awful in there.
Yeah. Who's going to clean that up?
Yeah. You can't have another set of prisoners do it.
You going to kill them too?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be like, no. They got to have some kind of technology that cleans those floors, right? Because you never see any, like, cleaning crews.
But the place looks pretty spotless.
Yeah, and everybody's walking around barefoot,
yeah.
so...
Yeah.
They probably got... this is dumb. They probably got a droid that does it.
They just got one droid for the whole prison.
Oh, God. And it's like whatever kind of busted-ass droid that B is.
Yeah.
B is like a busted-ass prototype Wally.
Right.
Like, I love him, though.
Yeah.
He's adorable, but...
Yeah, he's great.
He's not really very useful.
I was going to say, like, he'd be more like a... He's more like a pet.
Yeah, you're right, yeah. He's not really like a utility.
Yeah.
He's like having like a really stupid dog.
Yes.
But that has a projector.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
He's adorable.
Yeah, sure.
You love him.
Uh-huh.
You like throw the thing and he just looks at it.
Yeah.
He doesn't go get it.
We'll work on that.
Yeah.
That's about the extent of what he does.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
man.
the dog probably doesn't have a projector.
Yeah. He's almost like if Tulio was a droid, just
kinda. Except he doesn't growl at people. But yeah, that may be the dog I was thinking about when I started having this thought. Fucking A.
Oh,
For those of you who don't know, Tulio is my reverse guard dog.
Reverse.
Yeah, because you can take things from my house, and he doesn't care. But if you bring things to my house, he'll try to murder you. Yeah.
He's the sweetest, oldest pup that you'll ever meet in that house.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's definitely not the sweetest dog in that house, even. Yeah. But he is the oldest.
He is the oldest.
Yep. So we also get, when Olaf goes down, the med tech is how they actually find out what really happened. Mm-hmm. And they're like, this guy got out, and then they accidentally put him right back in the same prison. And so, yeah, as it turns out, like, when you get out, they just throw you in another prison.
Yeah. It's so fucked.
Yeah. It's absolutely some shit the Empire would do.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I'd be so fucking pissed. Like, there's just no way around that, man. I'm finding a way to shit on y'all's boots some way, somehow.
Yeah.
You take me out of one prison after my sentence is up, and then you put me in another one?
Yeah.
I'm fighting all of y'all.
And this is about the time where, like, Cassian already was trying to plan an escape. Mm-hmm. But when this happens, this is where he gets everybody on board, including Kino Loy, who was just like, oh, no, man, it's fine. We're going to get out in so many. He's like, I think he only had like 100 shifts or something.
Yeah, at the beginning, when we first see him, he said he had 249 shifts left.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that you serve one shift a day.
Yeah.
Because they don't really have windows, so going by shifts probably does make more sense than days.
Yeah, because it's like every 12 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like, I don't know if they necessarily get 12 hours.
They might not.
It might be 8.
Yeah. They might get just enough time to get a good night's rest, get some food goop.
Get you some food goop.
Gotta keep your strength up, you know.
If you like eat the food goop all the time, which obviously that's the only thing you have, and like you win the shift, like how bad are you like fiending for that flavored food goop?
That's just gotta look like a fucking gerbil on cocaine. just throw it in that tube. Getting all that good goop scoop.
That good, nutritious, flavored goop.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love that flavored goop. Yeah. Oh, my gosh, it's barbecue today.
I don't think I want any barbecue goop.
If you've been in there for 5 years and you get some barbecue flavored goop, man.
I'll be honest. I don't believe that I actually want any variety of the goop. I just don't. Yeah.
You haven't tried it yet, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And I mean, once again, it's the only option you have.
And you have to wonder, like, it is at least good, quote unquote, of them to have. They say nutritious food, but it's like you have to go out of your way to strip all the flavors from the nutrition,
right?
Put it into a paste form, and then just shovel it down the tube to your workers.
And don't forget, if you come in last on the shift, they shock the shit out of you.
Shock the ever living shit out of you
for a while.
Yeah,
that can't be good for you.
It can't be. I feel like the more you get shocked, like the worse your job performance is.
yeah. It's just a self-perpetuating like downward spiral at that point.
Yeah, after like for me, it would take like maybe 14 shifts, and I'm down on the floor like Yamcha.
Yeah,
you know, just shocking me doesn't even work anymore.
Yeah, no. But this is where he gets everybody on board with getting out. We also see that Luthen goes back to visit Saw Gerrera with his newfound knowledge of the Krieger situation. And at this point, this is where Saw is like, the fuck. Mm-hmm. Because he's like, oh yeah, man, tell Krieger I'm in. We're not taking orders from anybody though, but like we'll give the air support. Mm-hmm. And Luthen's like, yeah, dog. So look, about that, you don't want to go on that mission. And he's like, yeah, man, tell him I'll meet. We're good. He's like, nah,
I insist.
Yeah. And Saul very quickly puts together, like, you must have somebody at ISB. And Saul then immediately is just like, man, that's crazy, man. You're like really good at this, like, network shit. You got a motherfucker everywhere. Mm-hmm. You got somebody here with me. And do you think, so let me ask you, do you think it's actually tubes?
I was going to ask you that. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think he probably does have someone on the inside.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't think it's actually tubes, though.
Yeah, I don't think it's tubes.
It's fucked up that they call them tubes.
Right? What if he's like, what if he doesn't even like the name?
Yeah, no. He's like, my name's Richard.
All right, tubes.
Yeah, whatever, tubes.
It was a good play, though.
Yeah,
it was a good play. It did what Luthen needed to do in that moment.
That's the scene between them is so awesome. It's just incredible, like how tense it is too.
Yeah,
like when you get to the part where like Luthen pulls the blaster on him, he's like, "Hey, I'm not," and like Saw is just like, "Dog, if you shoot me,
yeah, you're not making it out of here."
And he's just like, "Look, I'm doing this, so you shut the fuck up and listen to me."
Yeah.
And yeah, like Saw is such a just paranoid person,
and this really isn't helping.
No, you kind of got to be.
Yeah,
you know, if you're in his position. But another one of my favorite scenes is when Luthen is leaving this particular meeting. And he gets flagged by the Empire, by a Star Destroyer. I told you his ship was not fucking around.
It is not. at all. Like, this motherfucker came prepared.
Yeah, what do you think about this scene here where he's in the what's the ship? The Fondor.
No, I thought that this was a really cool scene here. I guess what I'm curious about is how much information were they able to get based off of his ship? It's like, do they know exactly who's piloting the ship now?
No, because he has that computer or droid or whatever.
Okay.
And he had it basically generate like a fake signature for them.
Yeah.
So I guess it has access to their database where they have all this shit.
Yeah.
It probably not live access. It probably has like a copy.
Yeah.
So it just brings up like a code from, I think it was an Alderaan spice trader or something.
Right. Yeah.
So they looked that up in the system and they're like, oh, this is registered to this kind of ship. And then so they think that that's what this ship is.
Yep.
This ship probably got the serial number filed off.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to, because of all the crazy ass upgrades that it has.
Modifications that I'm sure are not galaxy legal.
Yeah, like the fuck your tractor beam special.
Yeah, that shit. That shit was incredible.
It was, yeah.
At first, it was hilarious because, like, you see Luthen's ship try to lurch forward, and the guys on like the Imperial ship, they're like, "Did he just no?"
No, he must know.
Yeah.
No, he didn't try that. Yeah, he hit the wrong button on the dash.
Yeah. But when he unleashes the fucking the fuck your tractor beam bullshit,
that was crazy.
That was great. And then like the other toys he has on the ship, like because they released like the what were those? The
TIE Fighters.
The TIE Fighters, yeah. And he just lasers through them.
Yeah, you actually originally think that you're like, oh, okay, so he's gonna fuck up their tractor beam and then he's just gonna jump to light speed. That does not happen.
Yeah.
So like he's in the ship and he does the fuck to your tractor beam and then he turns and goes back towards them and you can just tell he's just like, fuck the Empire.
Yeah.
And he's like he's got like a targeting computer on this thing. So he's like piloting and shooting these things down. And then like just to top it all off, we get the two that come after him, and he like puts the lasers out, and then just like spirals through and like shreds these guys.
It was great,
and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like he said, I got time today.
Yeah, because he's just basically outfitted this like basic cargo ship, small cargo ship, as this like mega, like I guess fighter.
Yeah. Cool as fuck. The Millennium Falcon can't do none of that.
Yeah, this is like the coolest ship.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really cool scene. I'm glad we got that, you know.
Yeah, they did a great job with that. Back on Ferrix, things are not going well.
You don't say.
They're still questioning and torturing Bix. And we get the news around this time that Marva is not doing well.
Yeah.
And so Marva is sick, and she eventually ends up passing. And this is kind of all happening while Cassian's still in the prison. So what did you think about the actual escape from the prison?
I really dug it, man, because it provided like a sense of urgency, but also like they had another competent plan, you know.
Yeah.
I look at a lot of like Cassian's adventures, and I'm like, man, this is like a video game, you know.
Yeah, it really is.
And just seeing how he's able to get the people on his side, especially Kino, because Kino is like the most reluctant to kind of, you know, join the team and fight back.
Right.
But, you know, Cassian, he makes a good point. He says, you know, I'd rather die fighting them than die doing what they want.
Yeah.
You know, and they do come up with a really good plan. You know, they're able to surmise like how some of the inner workings of the floor, and you know, they figure if they can short the bitch, then they're gonna have the upper hand, because they also know that they're short staffed. Like, there's just not enough guards to cover everywhere.
Right.
And so like I thought that like the plan and the execution of it was extremely well done, because everything is done so uniform. Everything is done in such an order that it's easy to kind of predict what to do, or what the guards are gonna do. So yeah, they did a great job here with this, I thought.
Yeah, I love that whole thing. And you remember the cosplay from Dragon Con that was really awesome that they did of all the prisoners?
I don't think I remember that one.
Maybe you weren't at that one. But yeah, so like they did a big group cosplay of all the of like wearing the prison uniforms, and like they just all went around just chanting "One Way Out."
Oh, that's awesome.
And to make it bittersweet, like everything has to be for Cassian. Kino doesn't know how to swim.
He doesn't know how to swim. So, and we technically don't see what happens with Kino.
Yeah, it's open ended.
It is.
I mean, he could live forever on the goop.
Yeah, man, he's got unlimited goop. Well, no, they cut the power.
Yeah, I was gonna say he had unlimited goop.
Yeah,
that wasn't the problem.
The goop is sitting somewhere, though.
Yeah, they got a goop vat somewhere.
Yeah. What do the guards eat on that ship?
They probably just get the flavor goop.
Oh, they get unlimited flavored goop.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you know? That's different. Oh man. So we don't know what happens to him, but I can tell you this much: if he stayed on that ship, he probably got. If he's lucky, he got captured.
Yeah,
but he probably could also have been murdered.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's still a bunch of guards on there who were hiding.
Yep. Like
little bitches. And as soon as they think the coast is clear, and if they see scragglers, you know, they don't have any power, so they got to get power restored, they could easily just say we had to eliminate them.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they're going to kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and the Empire probably captured a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them are probably still stranded on that planet. Mm-hmm. Malishi and Cassian are the only ones we know of that got off of here.
Yeah.
So let's talk Mon Mothma for a bit. So while all this is going on, we get Vel visiting. We find out that that's her cousin or whatever. We get a little more of kind of this estranged relationship with her daughter. We get her meeting with the banker. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Start with the D.
It's a one syllable name, as happens in Star Wars a lot, I think. But she's meeting with him to try to figure out a way to cover up her charitable donations, aka funding the rebellion. I mean, you know, like anybody would ever start up a bullshit charity. Yeah. But, so she's doing all this. She's trying to get his help. And through all this, he kind of comes up with a solution of sorts of, let's get this shady thug businessman involved. Basically, like a human Jabba the Hutt, it kind of seems. This motherfucker looks, talks, and acts like a Fallout 4 companion.
That's oddly specific.
It is, but it's not wrong.
Yeah. He's no Nick Valentine though.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
No.
But who is?
No, yeah. It's very interesting here that Luthen kind of never actually says this, but he really points out to her like, hey, if you didn't know before, you damn sure know now, like, you were gonna have to get your hands dirty eventually.
Yep.
And now we're at that part. Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting for me to see her in that situation because she's very much the Batman, Captain America type of like, no, like, I am going to do what's right and good, and like, this is my very rigid viewpoint on that. And even when he's like, no, like, I won't take the money or whatever, she's like, no, I don't want to owe you a favor. Like, take the money, or, you know, and then, oh, well, the meeting's over with, like, not going to do it. But she knows she really doesn't have much choice, unfortunately.
Yeah. It was kind of hilarious, though, at first, because she was like, well, you know, I just want to come back. And she was like, oh, I'm sure we can.
Yeah, we can do that.
By the way, I'll be bringing my 13-year-old son with me as well.
Yeah.
And that's when she started to put together what he really wanted.
And as it turns out, like, her daughter is apparently really into kind of this, I guess, old, I don't know if it's a religion or just like a belief system or something from Chandrilla, which is their home planet. And it just kind of layers into like how much she's like really lost touch with her daughter.
Yeah. And I mean, and, you know, in retrospect, old buddy, when he first sits down, he talks about, you know, the old ways of you know, of her traditions and whatnot, and how he thinks it's really cool that, you know, she believes in upholding that and whatnot, talking about her marriage. And then, you know, come to find out there's a reason he brought that up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and of course he's done his homework.
Oh yeah.
So after Cassian gets out, he goes back to the beach to get his stuff. He's trying to get back home. And I think he actually reaches out with the communicator, and like that's when he gets informed that Marva's dead. And at this point, pretty much everything kind of goes back to Ferrix, right? Where we started. Yep. So we had all these different characters on Ferrix, and they all split off into their own little adventures. And then here at the very end, it all like bottlenecks back in onto Ferrix. So Mon Mothma's not there. She doesn't have a reason to be there. But Cinta, Vel, Syril, Deidre, even Linus from the initial failed mission. Fucking Cyril's good old pal. His only friend. Is there. You know, Bix, unfortunately, still there. Cassian is there.
Marva's brick body.
Yeah. So, also, the guy that's like the head of the Imperial garrison there, he also 100% has that like, oh, I just became a cop because I can use it to like wield my like will against people.
Yeah.
Because like this dude, you can tell he's completely inept. He's just like looking for reasons to want to like hurt people.
Yeah.
He wants to hang Pac as like a sign of their authority or whatever. And once again, just like Syril, when the shit actually goes down, this dude is the first one like ducking for cover.
Yeah. Yeah. If there's any resistance, then he's gonna fold like a paper towel.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, they had like that older Imperial officer there too, who was like kind of leading the shit. Because if it had been this guy, they would have folded way faster than they did.
Yeah.
But the whole deal is that essentially you got Luthen and his crew looking for Cassian. The ISB is looking for Cassian, and they find out that Marva has passed. His mother has died. And so they're like, well, Cassian's going to come to the funeral. What did you think about this whole, like, Ferrix kind of funeral deal? Because I thought it was really neat.
Yeah, I did too. You know, Marva was a really important part of that community. And what was the name of like, the group that she was in?
The Daughters of Ferrix.
That's right, Daughters of Ferrix. You know, so she's always kind of been about that life.
Yeah.
And so it was a pretty big deal. I dug like this whole funeral proceeding and whatnot, and you know, like the plan to draw Cassian out, I thought made sense.
Yeah.
You know, and the stakes were there for this moment because Cassian he doesn't have all the information as far as we know. As
Right.
far as you know, the only thing that he's aware of is that his mother has passed and her funeral is being held.
Well, and he knows the Empire is looking for him.
Yeah, but he doesn't know exactly that there is like
The ISB is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks that they're still just looking for him for the murders.
Yeah.
From the beginning. He's not even thinking that they even remotely would connect him with Aldani.
Yeah.
Or, any of the other shit.
Right. So, yeah, he's not really thinking like, from that perspective. And so, like that would change the way that you maneuver if you were him.
Yeah.
And I mean, old Cassian, man, we see him like he's maneuvering like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like he knows where he's at, he knows what he's doing, but man, he got to move more careful in these situations. He's going to like, trying to go find Bix. He's, seeing old friends. I'm like, my boy, like they after you.
Yeah. And like the ISB got people everywhere here.
Yeah.
And then also Cinta is here. And no, dog. So I really love this whole culture thing with ferrets. You made a comment when we reviewed the first half. It's like so many of these places they all actually feel real and lived in.
Yeah.
And they did an incredible job with ferrets, I think.
They did.
You can tell that this place is like this really like blue collar place. It's like it produces a lot of things that are important to like everybody, Empire included, and the people of Ferrix are very like community based. And I love this like whole thing where he's explaining it like, yeah, so when you die, they make you into a brick. And she's like, and then what then? And he says, and they find you a wall.
Found you a wall, yeah.
This idea that like this place is literally built with like the remains of its citizens is like pretty awesome, I think. I mean, it's kind of morbid in a way, but
it's morbid, but it is awesome. And honestly, I would love like if I died before like the rest of y'all, make me into a brick and then use me to hit somebody. Like that'd be amazing.
I mean, that's what hers.
Yeah. Smack the shit out of somebody on my behalf. That would be amazing.
So we get this proceeding here, and then you do your own eulogy in Star Wars on Ferrix apparently, which is cool because they have the technology. And I'm going to read a little bit of it here because I don't want to paraphrase this at all because I fucking love this. I can watch this scene every day. And like she very slowly leads into all of this, which I really enjoy. And she talks about how like the people of Ferrix in particular, where it's like, the Empire would come here, they would impose their will, and then they would leave, and we would go right back to ignoring them. She says, we've been sleeping. And that really applies to, like, the people of the galaxy, right? That's why Aldani was necessary to get people to wake up. But when she really starts to actually lay into the Empire, she says, there is a wound that won't heal at the center of the galaxy. There is a darkness reaching like rust into everything around us. We let it grow, and now it's here. It's here, and it's not visiting anymore. It wants to stay. Fucking incredible.
Yeah.
She says, the Empire is a disease that thrives in darkness. It is never more alive than when we sleep. It's easy for the dead to tell you to fight, and maybe it's true. Maybe fighting is useless. Perhaps it's too late. But I'll tell you this, if I could do it again, I'd wake up early and be fighting those bastards from the start. Fight the Empire. And I love how during this speech, it's like showing all the different pieces on the board. And you can tell that Luthen is like really moved by this.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Originally, when she recorded that speech at the end, she says, fuck the Empire.
Really?
But Disney would not let them get away with it. And so they changed it.
There hasn't been an F-bomb in Star Wars yet, has there?
No.
Oh,
no, they actually almost got to it before the MCU.
Wow.
Because like they thought they were going to be able to get it through.
Before Guardians.
Yeah. But yeah, she originally says, fuck the Empire.
Oh, man. Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah.
But now I feel like we need to get an F-bomb in Star Wars.
Right, we really do.
Yeah, I don't know where they put it. Grogu's first word.
Oh. Yeah, no, it actually needs to be Mon Mothma. They need to show her like when they actually blew up the first Death Star. Mm-hmm. She just needs to be like, fuck. Yeah.
If we're being honest, man, like it would have been like in Rogue One, like you see those poor fucking rebels staring down the hall of death.
Yeah.
And Vader comes through.
Or the ones that are on the surface when like they use the beam on them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like fuck.
So yeah, there should have been several F-bombs.
Yeah, so far, yeah. But I love her speech, man. I like that to me is some of the best writing, and like it really underscores like what the Empire is.
Yeah.
You know? And it does a better job, I think, than most of Star Wars to like really illustrate that.
It really is a great speech because it feels like it's coming from a real person, and it gets right to the heart of the matter, and it does so with passion.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's a really effective speech, maybe too effective.
Yeah, yeah, because it immediately incites a riot.
Yeah,
and we have the kid who's Salman Pack's kid, mm-hmm. who they killed. They killed his dad, and he built a fucking bomb.
Yeah,
and that it's just your nice everyday riot, and then he throws this mm-hmm. bomb.
Again, I can only hope that my funeral incites a riot.
Yeah. Also, I just want to point out that he killed that fucking snitch like almost immediately. Yeah, because this dude snitches to like the undercover ISB guy, mm-hmm. tells where Cassian's at, and then he gets killed in the explosion.
Yeah. Fuck him.
And the thing about it is, there's no telling like what this dude was promised. Yep. Credits, way off the planet, better life, whatever. But number one, he's not going to get it. And then it's like, you hate this dude immediately because he's a snitch, but you're just like, man, if you were really living in like a very tough scenario and like somebody offered you a way out, you'd at least think about it.
Yeah.
Like him and Cassian don't seem to be boys,
Right. Yeah.
So
that's true.
It's just it just goes more into that like shades of gray.
Yep.
That this show is quite famous for. So yeah, after the speech, all hell breaks loose. They immediately start fighting the Empire, literally. A couple of them stormtroopers get beat to death with Marva's brick.
Yeah.
But there's some casualties here on both sides.
There are. Yeah, we see bodies from either side just strewn about. At one point, we see Deidre's about to fucking bite it.
Yeah, she gets mobbed, and like them people are about to kill her ass.
Mm-hmm. But who comes and saves the fucking day?
Syril, hey. Captain Syril. He's a hero.
And thankfully, the camera in this scene is shot on these two from like the waist up because he probably had a raging erection.
Yeah. Yeah, Syril is like if Ben Shapiro was in Star Wars.
Holy shit. Wow.
Just the driest pussy imaginable.
They're not supposed to get wet, Caleb. Did you know that?
He's just got like a dry pussy aura. I wonder if like if his character is meant to parody.
Now that you've said it, I can't unsee it.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, it never occurred to me until right now. It's like, oh man, that
is apt.
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
Even the hair and everything.
Yeah, man. Like it's straight up. Oh man, he can sue. Like that's how close it is. Oh wow!
Did you ever see this? Is a fucking tangent, but did you ever see the show they had about like the Lakers dynasty and like the way that Jerry West was portrayed in the show?
I think Will Ferrell was in it, and
Will Ferrell isn't the one that plays him.
Yeah.
But they play him ridiculous, like just this all outrageous motherfucker in the show, and then he like sued the network over the portrayal of him in the show, and then like the headline or whatever was like, "That's exactly what the character in the show would do."
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. It seems pretty spot on.
It is. Oh man, that's hilarious.
But all hell breaks loose. Cinta murders the shit out of that ISB spy.
Oh, bro.
She's like, we got better spies than your spies.
Yeah. Yeah, dog. Like it's complete bedlam and mayhem out here in these streets.
Like, I love how she just like pulls him into like a random closet, kills him, and just leaves the body in there. It's gonna be like months before somebody finds it.
I know. There's so much cleanup and other shit that has to be done at this point. They're not gonna find that body for a while.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And then later on, when Vel's like, "Are you okay? You're bleeding, or you got blood on you, or whatever." She's like, "It's not mine." It's like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah,
Cinta is cold, man.
Yes, holy shit.
But Luthen nopes. He's like, "Well, this is gone to shit.
Yep.
I don't want to be here about the GTFO." And do you think that he decided not to kill Cassian during Marva's speech?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say that as calculated as Luthen is, he maybe realizes that now isn't as opportune a moment as he had originally thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
But now say like if Cassian would have just wandered on his ship as he's about to take off, that might change things.
It's weird that you mentioned that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because Cassian rescues Bix while all the commotion is going on. And he gets her and a couple of the others and B on the ship. I actually love his interaction with B here.
Yeah.
He says, I need you to look after them. Like, I'll catch up with you. I'm counting on you. And B is like, you always say that. And he says, and you never let me down.
Yeah.
You know?
And poor Bix, she's just fucked up.
Oh, yeah. She's straight traumatized. She is going to be in season 2, though, so.
Cassian's going to save us.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yes. He'll come back and save us. He's like, I'm right. Yes, he will.
Yep, sure will. Cassian will find us. So he's like, I got some shit I got to take care of. I'm tired of these people trying to kill me. So he leaves and he gets onto the Fondor. And, he spotted Luthen earlier. What do you think his plan here was with Luthen?
I do not know. Clearly he's going to try to get some kind of information from him. But in terms of like, what's his actual game plan here to get out? Because he did not literally come this far just to die.
Right.
So he's got to be playing some kind of long game, some kind of long con. I don't know if he's going to try to broker a deal with Luthen. And I mean, that might be the move though, because at this point there are so many different people and entities that want him dead. He needs allies.
Well, he says to Luthen, kill me or take me in. To me, that says he wants to be all in, not a mercenary anymore.
Yeah.
He wants in.
Yeah.
At what point do you think Cassian decided, like, I'm going to stand up? Because early on, he never had any love for the Empire.
Never, yeah.
But he was never I want to join a rebellion. As a matter of fact, he was the only one being paid at Aldhani. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to be there. It was just another job to him.
Yeah.
Because he's like, fuck the Empire. But, I mean, this is in the same way that, like, you know, your buddy that has government fucking conspiracy theories.
Yep.
You know? It's like, he'll bitch about them on fucking Twitter or whatever, but he ain't about to do nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it was like, kind of like Death by a Thousand Cuts for Cassian. I think that, like, just seeing atrocity after atrocity after atrocity, and then, like, obviously the straw that broke the camel's back was his mom's eulogy. Yeah. You know, I think that, like, you compile all those things together, like his bullshit charges, his time in prison, his, you know, like, seeing more of, like, the injustices that are being done. I think that, like, all these things compiled into one have finally convinced him that the shit's not going to end until people rise up and end it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but again, I think that hearing his mother's words, and I think he finally clicked with him why she couldn't leave, and so yeah, I think that's probably what convinced him.
Yeah. It's very interesting, right, that the Aldhani robbery really is the beginning of the end of the Empire. Mm-hmm. It's like that moment leads us truly into the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
You know, like it started right there. And I think it's really cool, especially because every single fucking person that was there, for all we know, is long dead by Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Quite a few of them don't make it to the first Death Star, much less the second
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh man.
What you thinking about scoring this, and we'll talk about some season 2 predictions.
Oh man, how to score this?
So give me back half and then whole season.
Okay. So you want 2 different scores?
Yeah.
Okay. This back half does such a tremendous job of separating itself from the first half, which I think is a pretty amazing feat. Because it still all feels like the same show in terms of tone, but like in terms of setting and even in terms of premise, it takes a departure from the first half, and it's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
I really enjoy that, like, all of the characters feel so real and fleshed out, and they, even if the dialogue isn't always written the best, like, they're able to deliver it in a way that is believable and I can buy into it. You know, like, my only real complaint is that sometimes the pacing does feel a bit off, and it's just some scenes I think are unnecessarily long, and had some scenes just been cut down, I think we really could have saved some time here. But, like, by and large, I think that this is a really, really incredible show. I see why so many people love this show. The way that this ends, I shit you not, I thought that I was just getting another commercial break because I'm watching this on Disney Plus. And then, you know, and then I see the credits roll, and I'm like, there's still 7 minutes on this thing, and there is a post-credit scene. But you know, it really just kind of threw me off because I'm like, well, this doesn't seem like a good spot at all to end this. So that does also play a role in this as well. I feel like if they had found a more steady place to end this season, that would have been, I think, maybe more preferable for me. Who knows? Maybe when we get season 2, it'll make more sense as to why they ended where they ended. Yeah. But I am going to give the back half of this thing I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
Yep.
And what season as a whole? Season
as a whole, again, really good shit. I really enjoyed it top to bottom. The first have had like probably still my favorite episode of the series, which is episode 6. It was still excellent, man. But it also had maybe my lowest of lows as well. I think I'm going to give the whole season an 8.7.
Got it. Yeah, I actually, until you just mentioned it, I actually forgot about the post-credit scene because I did not stick around for that for the second time. I saw it the first time I watched it. But yeah, we find out that the things they were building are Death Star pieces.
Death Star pieces, yeah. Yep. Imagine working on that bitch, not even knowing it. It makes sense, though, because I'm like, man, they got those bitches up relatively quick.
It's interesting. Well, not necessarily, because if you remember, they're like looking at the designs at the end of episode 3. So it took them like 20 years to build the first one.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And then the second one, yeah. I mean, they had to obviously have already been working on it.
One would assume.
But it still took them a couple years to build a second one.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, but
it's also like the size of a moon.
I was gonna say, like relatively speaking, what's 20 years to building a moon?
Well, when Obama was president, they had this whole thing where like if something got like a certain number of signatures, then like the government would actually respond to it or whatever. And like there was one to like for the government to build a Death Star.
Geez, no. Why would we want the government to have a Death Star?
Right, exactly. But Obama's administration actually did research like what it would take for them to build one because of the petition. And like I think they came up with like basically like if they harvested all of the known rare minerals on Earth that they would need to build it, that it wouldn't, like they couldn't complete it.
Yeah. Of course not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they're pulling from probably like 100 different planets.
Have to. Yeah, we want to build something that's a third the size of planet Earth.
Yeah. No, there's just not enough shit.
Yeah.
But that being said, yeah, that the irony that like Cassian is so instrumental in the Death Star being destroyed, and then he also built part of it. Yeah. So I love this show. I love that. Yes, the slow burn at the beginning, I think, turned off a lot of people. But I don't mind that slow burn if I'm actually going to be rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like with this show, it does such a good job of paying off for you sticking with it and, like, trusting it. Whereas we've had, for every one Andor, we probably have 50 loss.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Where like the juice isn't worth the squeeze. There may not even be any juice. You like squeeze that fruit and like 4 milk duds pop out. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that would be amazing. This is more like you squeeze that fruit and you get some goop.
Some flavorless goop.
But it's nutritious.
It's nutritious. Goop tube. But yeah. Listen, man, I'm telling you, if they made that nutritious goop, like bodybuilders would definitely love that shit. Yeah. They'd be eating that shit up.
It would, yeah.
Like you can eat as much as you want of it, and it just gives you like all your essential nutrients, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, they'd be selling that shit by like in the 5-gallon bucket.
Oh gosh, like would you want it warm or cold? Like, what's the best way to eat?
Room temp. Room temp. Yeah. No, definitely not warm. And probably not cold either, but definitely not warm. Yeah, absolutely not warm.
It's gotta have the consistency of like old oatmeal.
I always thought like applesauce had to be
okay,
because like the old oatmeal wouldn't come through the tube.
It wouldn't. That's true.
But like the applesauce would keep flowing. The like, sauce must flow.
Is there like a faucet where you can control how much comes out?
Nah, you just when you turn that bitch on, you just get full tilt blasted. You get a little warning light. Courtesy warning.
Oh no! God damn.
But yeah, so back half, I'm going to rate it a little higher. I'm going to give it a 9.5, and then I'm going to say like a 9 for the show overall. Like I said, it is so rare that we get a show that has this kind of writing and this sort of character work and is willing to put the time in, but like I said, actually pays off. That brings us into season 2. I'm really excited for it. I watched like the special preview or whatever for it today, and it looks like they're just amping up everything.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but I am stoked for season 2 to see exactly what they do. I mean, clearly they had something in mind, something very specific and special in mind for this season. So I want to see how this thing gets paid off. Like, do you think? I mean, I know that they did give us a throwaway line about his sister, about how he shouldn't even look for her because there were no survivors. Do you really think that's the end of that?
I don't know, man. I kind of don't want that plot revisited.
I don't either. It was just because, like, I feel like we've seen that before, you know?
Yeah, the whole, oh, well, my sibling died, but I didn't see it with my own 2 eyes, so, like, they must still be out there. I mean, the funny thing is, we see that in fiction, and, like, 99 times out of 100, their lost sibling is still out there. They're either somebody they already knew, or they're a villain, or whatever. But in reality, those odds would be flipped. It'd be the 1 out of 100 that they were actually still alive.
Yeah. And
all the other times, you're just hopelessly looking for someone who's actually dead. You just didn't see him die.
Right.
And I would love it if that was just the case here, where it's like Marva said, like, there was no survivors.
It just, but, you know, and this goes without saying, but the reason why it's always 99% of the time we find the sibling is because it feels pointless to bring it up if they're not there.
Yeah.
You know.
And I actually think that would be brilliant writing in this case, for it's like, yeah, Cassian's still looking for his sister or whatever, but she actually did die on, what's the name of that planet? Canary.
Okay. Yes, right, Canary, because it reminded me of, like, the Dragon Age people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so, like, I mean, yeah, and this, like, indigenous tribe killed, like, a Republic officer or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, they probably all got massacred.
Yeah. Especially because the way the time frame lines out is, like, this is, like, late era Republic. This is war Republic.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this ain't like the Jedi Council was running shit still Republic. This is like the Jedi Council was just working for Palpatine Republic.
Oh, man. So you already said that you think Luthen is gonna bite it.
Yeah, and I think either Daedra or Krennic will be the source of that. I'm interested that Krennic is, like, gonna be in season 2.
Yeah.
So, do you think that Vader will be in season 2?
You know, I'm gonna say, my gut instinct is to say no. Actually, it would be cool to see Vader show up there. But even though we're nearly 10 years removed from Rogue One, I wonder would that lessen the shock and awe of seeing him there?
So I think it's 4 years.
Well, I meant, like, from the time that the movie came out.
Yeah. So from the end of season 1 to the very opening of Rogue One is 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, not the very opening, but present day Rogue One. Because Jyn Erso was a little girl when Krennic came and got her dad. So that's already happened. Her dad is working on the Death Star right now during season 1 of Andor. So we know that there's 4 years from the end of season 1 until the beginning of Rogue One, and that the next season is going to bridge that gap. So there's going to be some time skips in there.
There's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Except we know that, like, the time skip can't happen at the beginning of episode 1.
No. No.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, so I think we're going to get, hopefully, a lot more Luthen. I think we're going to see Mon Mothma taking bigger risks. I mean, because she's just straight up at the fucking rebellion headquarters in Rogue One.
She has no choice but to take bigger risks now, really.
Leia's dad probably will show up, I would assume. Senator Organa. We know Krennic's going to be in it. You think any other surprises?
At the end of the season, do you think we see any other returning faces from Rogue One?
Well, obviously, like, we got to see how Cassian ends up with K2.
Yeah, they've got that's got to pay off.
Yeah, absolutely has to pay off.
Yeah.
So Cassian and K2SO. I don't think we'll get any of the people they meet on Jeddah because that wouldn't make sense.
Right.
I think we'll see some more Saw. I hope we see some more Saw. I really love Saw Gerrera, and I love Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah. And
I love him as him. So, from Rogue One, any other returning faces? I don't know, man. It would be interesting if they went out of their way to get Mads Mikkelsen as Galen Erso, but it could totally happen.
Yeah.
But it can't be Cassian that runs into him.
No, Cassian can't run into him, but he could still be in the show.
Yeah, they could show Krennic, like, berating him, whatever, like, finish, get the project finished, Palpatine's waiting on me, whatever. It really wouldn't make a ton of sense for them to have Vader in it either, because Krennic in Rogue One, he goes to the castle on Mustafar to visit Vader, which is by far my favorite moment from Rogue One. Because Vader's castle was always this thing that was not canonized. It was in the expanded universe.
Yeah.
And Rogue One not only canonized it, but put it on Mustafar.
Yeah.
Which made me so happy. Because, like, this motherfucker just sits in this Bacta tank that won't heal him all day, every day. On location where Obi-Wan fucked him.
Yeah.
And he just, like, presses A to become more angry.
Yeah.
Like,
all day.
All day. All day. Every day. Forever.
Oh. Yeah, he's I think about it, like, there's a little bit of powerplex going on there,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
This is all your fault, Obi-Wan.
He can't get away with it.
God damn it.
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan Kenobi hasn't been heard from for like several decades. He just fucking force chokes that guy.
Yeah.
Lightsaber throw. You gotta imagine, man, by this point, like, it feels like that, like, Vader ain't really out just doing shit constantly.
No.
Like, he's very much just kind of on standby for Palpatine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, if he got to step outside, somebody's getting fucked up.
Yeah. I gotta think, he's got to be, 50, 55?
That seems right.
By this point. And, like, I feel like 55 is really old for, like, when you were 30, 35, like, you got 3 of your limbs cut off and burnt to a motherfucking crisp.
That is a young age for that to happen. I feel like I could be 85 years old and that would still be a young age for that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying, man, I feel like the impact on your, like, lifespan, mobility, etc. is considerable.
But, dog, like, fuck the Force. Like, it's just spite and hate that is keeping this man alive.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Because, like, I don't know that they've ever really addressed the specifications of, like, if the suit keeps him, like, medicated. And I don't think it does.
I've never imagined that it kept him medicated. Like, I think that to a degree, Vader needs to feel that agony.
Yeah, like Palpatine wants him to. And, like, Palpatine designed his suit. And Palpatine specifically designed the suit to keep him from being able to rise up against him. That's actually why you don't ever see Vader use the Force lightning. It's because the suit is designed in such a way that he'll fry it if he does. And Palpatine intentionally designs it that way. So, like, if this motherfucker ever steps out of line, all he's got to do is, you know. And, like, so you got to think, man, when he's in that Bacta tank is, like, the only time he's not in complete agony. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, as soon as he steps outside, man, it's just like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in pain. I'm angry. I would say my feet hurt, but...
yeah, I don't got no legs.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that scene in Rogue One is absolutely horrifying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because, like, very quickly you have to realize that what you're doing right now is very futile.
Yeah.
You know? But there's also no escape, so you might as well keep shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you might be that one lucky guy. I mean, nobody at this point in time understands how the Force works. Mm-hmm. So, as a matter of fact... the Emperor had like basically all like references to that shit eradicated from society. So like to them, it's just an ancient religion, myth, whatever, just some bullshit,
just some old bullshit.
Until you run into this motherfucker,
yeah,
and you're like,
oh shit,
and then like you're not gonna be able to tell no one.
Exactly. Yeah, you're gonna be dead as fuck.
And you also got to remember too that, among the Senate, the Empire, etc., it's not common knowledge that Palpatine was a Sith.
Yeah.
The only people that saw that shit firsthand are either dead or they're Obi-Wan or Yoda. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a real fucked up situation. But hey, you know, the thing about Palpatine is that somehow he always returns.
Somehow.
You
really wanted this drink to end up all over the equipment. That's the full spectrum of, like, the Star Wars writing. It's like the Marva funeral speech.
Yep.
To somehow Palpatine return. That's the spectrum.
I wish I could have been in the writing room for both of those moments.
Yeah.
You know, like for the brilliance of Marva's, you know, eulogy and the funeral scene, and then for the just the deprived hilariosity of fuck it, man. Somehow Palpatine returned. I don't know.
I feel so bad for Oscar Isaac for having. Do you think they shot that once and were like, we already said fuck it on the writing, we might as well say fuck it on the scene? Or do you think that like Oscar Isaac like read it and was like, that was awful. Hey, can we get another? And then like 3 hours later, he's just like got a cigarette.
Yeah.
And he's like, I gotta do something with this line. Fucking Al Pacino would get it. Throws the cigarette. He's like, okay, let's get another one. And he's just like, somehow, Palpatine returned.
But nope,
cut it. Let's go back.
They're like, even though we're recording this on digital, we're running out of film, Oscar.
Yeah, man. Come on, bro.
Yeah, if I were him, I would just take a look at that. Oscar Isaac, he's good enough to realize that, like, there is no level of good that can just get that line by.
Nope.
So, might as well just be one and done with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, I really hope that you guys have enjoyed our coverage of Andor Season 1. We are going to be anxiously awaiting Season 2. But do not go anywhere, because by the time this is up, we will probably have watched episodes 5 and 6 of Daredevil Born Again. And if you haven't been keeping up with our coverage of that, we've been reviewing each and every episode as they come out every week. So this will be no different. We'll be right back later on this week with our Born Again coverage. And we got 2 episodes this week, and there's got to be a reason they're doing that.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing it just because they feel like it.
Yeah.
So definitely be sure to keep your eyes out for that. Also, if you guys have not as of yet seen Batman Ninja versus the Yakuza League, that might be for the best. But the review for that is up, and if I dare say so myself, the review might be a little bit better than the movie. I can't promise you by how much.
Yeah, I haven't watched the movie. I refuse. But I enjoyed the bit of the review I saw, so it's got to be better than the movie. So next week, are we gonna kick off Last of Us? Are we gonna recap season 1 of that?
Oh, we can.
If not, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Oh, there's always something to do.
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of stuff. We still got to do Doomsday Clock, but I actually got to read that. So
that is kind of how that works.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a very difficult one to just wing it.
Yeah. If you can bullshit your way through Doomsday Clock, then I applaud you.
Yeah, that would be something. Either that or, we could start on our Fantastical Four.
Oh,
do we want to space those out a bit and give ourselves? Because I'll be honest with you, man, I can't go Monday with a Fantastic Four every Monday.
We would have to space that out because that would be hell.
Yeah, so we'll kick it off then. We can see if we can assemble the crew.
We're gonna have to because the first one is gonna be the Forbidden 94.
Yeah, the 94. The 94.
All right, I'm not gonna hit any button for that, good or bad. I'm just gonna let that be neutral.
And then we're gonna get the what? 98, 2000. When did the
04 and 07?
Oh, geez, it was 04.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay. See, if the original Fantastic Four movie, and by the original I mean like the 04 one, if that had come out in like 97, that'd been a great movie.
Nope.
Yeah, okay. And what's crazy is the 2004 one that we're talking about, just like the first like Fantastic Four from Fox with Vic Mackey himself. That is the gold standard.
It's the best one. That's the one to beat.
That is the best Fantastic Four movie by a mile. And that bar is still on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, and then Silver Surfer, which by the way, never seen that, so that'll be fun.
Oh, you've never seen it?
I've never seen it.
Oh.
It can't be worse than Fanforstic.
No,
which is gonna. The only reason that I am gonna agree to sit through Fanforstic again is because Oz and Dylan haven't seen it, and I'm gonna get to witness their immense suffering. So yeah, if we can assemble the crew Monday, we'll go ahead and get that Fantastic Four kicked off.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, then we can circle around to some Last of Us. We gotta divide this Fantastic Four bullshit up.
Yeah, we do, because that's gonna be that would be rough.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if we did like Fantastic Four every single Monday leading up to the release of the new one. That would be. I would probably give the new Fantastic Four like a 2 just because I'm so bitter and tired.
Yeah, I'm gonna need at least like 2-3 weeks between Fanforstic and that movie. Just to like try to recover some.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that my psyche has like trauma buried a considerable part of that movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. The movie's just fucking trash, man. There's nothing good to even.
Did I rank it the lowest of all of them?
Was it Fanforstic? I think it was.
Yeah, because I think Kevin gave it to Dark Phoenix.
Yep.
And I gave it to Fanforstic.
Yep.
And my only logic was like, well, Jennifer Lawrence does get killed in Dark Phoenix. So I give it to Fantastic Four as the worst. So
I can't argue with that logic.
Yeah. That's the tiebreaker for the worst of the worst of the worst.
Well, homies, we have hit that point in the podcast again where we are going off the rails. So I think now is a good spot to go ahead and end this one. But thank you guys again for listening in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review, this breakdown of Andor Season 1. What a fantastic season of television. And we're really looking forward to watching and reviewing Season 2 amongst all the other things we have coming up. That's going to be all for now, guys. But we'll see you all again soon. But until next time, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.